I want you to imagine something. A warehouse worker needs to pick items for an order. They don't open Business Central. They don't navigate menus. They don't click through pages. They just say, "What do I need to pick for order 5847?" And a voice tells them, guides them through the warehouse, confirms the pick, updates the inventory, all without ever seeing a Business Central screen. That's not science fiction. That's where we're heading, and it's coming faster than most people think. Today, I want to talk about Business Central becoming invisible and why that's actually the best thing that could happen to the platform. Let's be honest about how Business Central implementations work today. Users log into BC. They navigate role centers. They find pages. They enter data into fields. They click buttons. They run reports. The interface is the system as far as they are concerned. And for decades, that made sense. The ERP was the center of the business universe. Everything happened inside it. But think about this from the user perspective. The warehouse worker doesn't want to learn BC. They want to pick orders. The salesperson doesn't want to navigate pages. They want to close deals. The CFO doesn't want to run reports. They want to understand the business. Business Central is a means to an end, but we've made it the end itself. We spend enormous effort on role centers, page layouts, personalizations, user training, teaching people how to use BC. What if we didn't have to? What if BC did what it's actually good at? Managing data, enforcing business rules, handling transactions, and something else handled the human interaction. That's the shift that's coming. Let me explain what I mean by BC as a backend. The traditional architecture, users interact directly with Business Central. BC handles everything: data storage, business logic, and user interface. The new architecture, users interact with an interface layer. Could be a custom app, could be a chatbot, could be a voice assistant, could be Copilot. That layer talks to BC through APIs. BC handles data and business logic. The interface handles the interface. This is something called headless architecture. The ERP has no head, no user-facing interface. It's just the brain and the body. Why does this matter? Reason number one, better user experience. BC interface is fine. It's functional, but it's not designed for the warehouse floor. It's not designed for mobile. It's not designed for voice. It's not designed for AI conversations. When you separate the interface from the backend, you can build the right interface for each user and each context. Reason number two, faster iteration. Changing BC pages is slow. Extensions, testing, deployment cycles, and you're constrained by what BC allows you to do on pages. Changing custom front end, it's fast. Deploy daily if you want. No BC deployment required. Reason number three, AI native interactions. This is the big one. AI agents don't want to click buttons and fill in forms. They want to call APIs. They want structured data out and structured data in. When BC is a backend with clean APIs, it's ready for AI. When BC is a user interface, AI has to somehow simulate human clicking through pages. That's fragile. That's slow. That's not how this should work. Microsoft knows this. Why do you think they're investing so heavily in Copilot, in BC APIs, in Dataverse integrations? They're building towards a future where the BC interface is optional, where the value of BC is the data model and the business logic, not the pages and reports. Let me show you what this actually looks like in practice. Example number one, the warehouse worker. Traditional flow, open BC, navigate to warehouse pick, find the order, print or view pick list, go pick items, come back to BC, register the pick, handle any discrepancies. The new flow. Hey, what's my next pick? AI agent queries BC via API, finds the highest priority pick, Order 5847, customer consono. 3 items, starting with item A1234, bin location 3B2. Worker walks there, confirms pick by voice, agent updates BC inventory via API. Next item, B5678, bin location 4A1. Continue until done. The worker never sees BC. They just work. BC handles all the data in the background. Example number 2, the sales manager. The traditional flow. Open BC. Run sales analytics report. Export to Excel. Build charts. Try to understand what it means. Prepare presentation. New flow. How are we doing against Q4 targets? AI, agent queries, BC via API. Pulls sales data. You're at 78% of Q4 target with 6 weeks remaining. The northern region is ahead at 92%. Southern region is lagging at 61%. 3 deals in pipeline could close the gap if you land this month. Tell me about the southern region problem. Southern region has 40% longer sales cycles this quarter. The main bottleneck appears to be in the quote approval stage. Average 8 days versus 3 days in other regions. Instant insight, no report building, no Excel, just questions and answers. Example number 3, the customer. Traditional, customer calls or emails. Someone looks up their order in BC, send information back. New, customer asks their own AI assistant, where's my order from Kronos? The AI calls your customer portal API, your system queries BC, your order shipped yesterday, tracking number XYZ, expected delivery Thursday. The customer never knows BC exists. They just get answers. In all 3 examples, BC is doing what it's good at, storing data, enforcing business rules, processing transactions, but the human interaction happens somewhere else, somewhere designed for humans or designed for AI, talking to humans. Now I have a short POC here where I actually show how this whole headless architecture is going to work. Here I'm running something called Goose. You could also run this in Cloud Code or any other CLI tool. The idea behind Goose is that you can choose any model you want, and then you can set it up using the Open Router if you want, like if you view my earlier videos where I'm also using Open Router for root code. Anyway, I have created a skill that can actually access my Business Central. So here I've asked it to list my customers. So it's listed all these customers from my cloud environment. And let's say that I wanted to ask it for something else. Let's say I would like a 360 view of my customer kontorcentralen. And let's see what the AI will figure out. Now, what it's doing behind is it's using the Business Central APIs to get all this information and trying to figure out what information I need to get across the different endpoints. Now, this is only set up to Business Central, but the idea here would of course be that I could also have a skill for calling my Salesforce or my Dynamics CRM or whatever, and it should then call all these different skills and make a complete picture of everything and figure out which information is relevant for this customer. And it's done. So as you can see, it has created a 360 of my customer here with some information about email and phone and whatever it could find of information, financial profile, my performance of recent invoices, what open sales orders I have, and what quotes, what value I have right now with it, if it's a healthy customer, and it's actually given me quite a good starting point to see if I want to keep on working on this customer. And as I said here, of course, I could also say if I had some information in other systems, I could create skills that would also call those and keep everything inside here. And of course, I could also just talk to it instead of writing. But this is just like a really rough POC, just to show you what I'm talking about Business Central becoming invisible and having everything inside, for example, an AI tool or something else. Let's get back to the main video. So if you're a BC developer watching this and thinking, okay, how do I build for this future? Let me tell you what matters. Number one, API design. This is the new core skill. If BC is a backend, APIs are how everything talks to it. And I don't just mean knowing that BC has APIs. I mean designing good APIs. What endpoints do you expose? What data structure? How do you handle errors? How do you version your APIs so you don't break clients when you change things? The standard BC APIs are a starting point, but for real solutions, you'll build custom API pages. You'll design endpoints for specific use cases. Think about it from the consumer's perspective. If an AI agent needs to create a sales order, what's the cleanest way to do that? What information does it need? What validations happen? What comes back? Number two, business logic stays in BC. Here's a trap some people fall into. They move logic to the interface layer. Don't do that. Validation rules, keep them in BC. Business calculations, keep them in BC. Workflow enforcement, keep them in BC. The interface layer should be dumb. It takes user input, sends it to BC, displays results. All the smart stuff happens in BC. Why? Because you might have multiple interfaces, mobile app, web portal, AI agents, maybe still the BC client for some users. If your logic is scattered across all of them, you're in maintenance hell. BC is a source of truth. Interfaces are just windows into it. Number three, events and webhooks. In a backend architecture, BC needs to tell the outside world when things happen. Order created, fire an event. Inventory drops below threshold, fire an event. Payment received, fire an event. This is where Azure Service Bus comes in, which we covered in the last video. BC publishes events, other systems subscribe and react. The interface layer might subscribe too. Hey, the order state is changed. Update what the user sees. This is event-driven architecture. BC isn't just responding to requests, it's broadcasting what's happening so the ecosystem can react. Number four, security at the API level. When users log into BC, security is handled by the BC permission system. When AI agents call your APIs, that whole model changes. You need OAuth. You need to think about scope and permissions to the API level. You need to validate that the caller is allowed to do what they're asking. This ties back to the keyword and security architecture we discussed. Service tags to restrict who can call your endpoints, proper authentication on every request, audit logging for API calls. The attack surface of a backend system is different from a user-facing system. Plan for it. Notice what is not on this list. Page design, role centers, user personalizations, report layouts. Not that those are useless. Some users will still log into BC, but they're not where the growth is. They're not where the future is. Let me paint a picture of where I think this goes over the next few years. Near term, Copilot agents are already here. Microsoft isn't just talking about this, they're shipping it. The sales order agent can already automate the entire sales order taking process. Customers send emails, the agent reads them, creates a sales order in BC, handles confirmations, no human clicking through the pages. The payable agent helps processing vendor invoices, matching them to purchase orders, flagging exceptions. These aren't future concepts, they're in BC right now. And this is just the beginning. Watch what Microsoft announced each release wave. More agents, more automation, more scenarios where BC does the work without a human navigating the interface. That's Microsoft building exactly what I'm describing. BC as a backend, AI agents as the interaction layer. Medium term, agent to agent communication, where we're going to see AI agents that work on behalf of companies talking to each other. Your customer's purchasing agent, an AI, needs to place an order. It talks to your sales agent, also an AI. They negotiate, confirm availability, agree on terms. An order is created in your BC, a purchase order in your system. No humans involved in the transaction. BC handles the business logic, the AI handles the interaction. This sounds wild, but Google, Microsoft, Salesforce, they're all building towards this. Agent to agent protocols is coming. The long term, the ERP disappears. Not literally, but from the user's perspective. ERP becomes invisible infrastructure, like electricity. You don't think about the power grid when you turn on a light. You just flip the switch. Future workers won't think about the ERP system. They'll just do their jobs. The system is there, handling everything in the background, but it's not something they interact with consciously. And here's the thing, if you're a BC developer who understands this shift, who can build for the future, you're not competing with AI. You're building the infrastructure that AI runs on. That's a very different competitive position than I write AL code. This is video 4 in the series, and I think it bridges everything together. Video 1, AI is changing everything. The developer role is dying. Video 2, think like an architect, not a coder. Video 3, learn Asia, the integration layer. Video 4, understand where it's going. BC as a backend. Interfaces are separate layer. This is the vision. BC doesn't become less important. It becomes more important as the foundation of business operations, but it becomes invisible. The engine, not the dashboard. Your job isn't to make pretty BC pages. Your job is to make BC a reliable, secure, performant backend that AI agents and custom interfaces can build on. Data integrity, API design, business logic, event-driven architecture, security. That's the future. And honestly, I think it's more interesting than tweaking role centers. If you watched this whole series, I want to hear from you. Has it changed how you think about your career? Are you making changes? What questions do you still have? Drop a comment. I read all of them. And if you're just finding this video, the links to the previous 3 are in the description. Start from the beginning. It'll make more sense. See you in the next one.